What's up, everyone? Casual Talk here. Today, I'm going to be talking about how lack of communication is affecting the work environment. We're living in an extremely selfish time, and selfishness is spreading like a disease. It's even contagious because of what celebrities is indoctrinating and pumping into a lot of their viewers and their fans. Do what you want. Words like that alone speaks a lot of red flags. This is the same case for people in the work environment. Lack of communication at work is running rampant, especially for jobs that does not pay very well. Dead-end jobs is known, from my experience, to have these type of problems. Supervisors, CEOs, bosses, they are very comfortable in their seat and they want to tell you what to do. There are some cases where not many supervisors would take their time to get up and get out of their way to help a fellow employee out that they hired. Okay? There are YouTubers who make jokes about how when you're very busy, you're the only employee that's around, and your supervisor has the nerve to watch you and not even acknowledge you and even just come out around and just be like, "Hey, let me help you out." They don't offer you any help. They see you struggling, and if you mess up, then they'll use that against you and try to get rid of you. This happens every day in America, and I'm pretty sure it's the same case in other places, other countries. I don't know, but from my experience, it's always been like this. That's where it leads to a lot of stress, a lot of headaches, and this is why many companies that practices this type of behavior, why they have a high turnover rate. Lack of communication really hurts the companies in the long run. You are replaceable, but those supervisors, the CEOs, the bosses, they need employees to help run their company and make them money. If they don't have any workers, how are they going to run a company on their own? Especially if it's a major franchise at that. Lack of communication really is annoying and it's bothersome. Like I said, I have two jobs. I work on the weekends and I work during the weekdays. So I have a weekday job and a weekend job. Both jobs has the exact same thing in common: lack of communication. One of my previous weekend jobs, the exact same thing: lack of communication. It's scary to think that there are so many supervisors, managers that are so comfortable in their position. They just feed you to the wolves. A lot of the times they're not helpful. They show you something once and they expect you to get it just like that, with a snap of a finger. And don't you dare come around them and try to ask them and ask them double questions. Some of them would get annoyed. How you have the nerve to get annoyed, but you barely are communicating with a new employee and they don't know what to do. They don't know where to go. Let that make sense. I had many times and many cases where some stuff like that happened to me. I'll be lost. I don't know where to go. There's a certain area in the warehouse that I don't know how to go to. I'll go out of my way to try to find a supervisor and ask for help. The moment you ask for help, they look annoyed. They don't want to help you. They want nothing to do with you. You're on your own. This is just how it is in a lot of jobs today. I'm telling you, this is how it is. A lot of people lacks communication, but outside of work, these same people, your coworkers, supervisors, managers, right? They want people to communicate with them. They want to communicate with their friends, their family, relatives, right? But they are inconsiderate when it comes down to the workplace. If the supervisor is not up to par and not in check, how can you expect everybody else in the work environment to be in check too? Yes, you have a few good coworkers who could pretty much be like a supervisor or a team lead, and they're getting paid the exact same wages as you. They're making the same amount of money that you're making per hour. They're in the same position as you, same role. They just know how to do the job, and they act more of they act more of a supervisor or a boss more than the actual boss and the supervisor. At two of my current jobs, it's the exact same thing. And you know what happens with lack of communication in the work environment? You have a lot of lazy coworkers, people who are just hiding in the bathroom, people who are hiding somewhere in the corner outside of work. They're abusing their time and they get very comfortable. And when they get very comfortable, then they get lazy and it creates a bad habit. They don't want to do anything. Even your own coworkers is not going to go out of their way to help you or tell you something, especially if they don't like you. If there's a meeting or something that you got to attend and nobody told you about it, best be assured it is not your fault. It's the company's fault. It's the lack of the communication. And the lack of the communication also equals to many bad outcomes and bad things to happen. It creates bad habits. It creates bad outcomes. It's stressful. Some jobs you could tolerate, some you can't. Two of my current jobs is, thank God, is very chill and laid back. So I take my time, do what I need to do, and go my way. Okay? I don't bother nobody. I keep to myself. I don't want to associate with any work environment drama about he said, she said. I mind my business and I keep it pushing. And I believe everybody should have this exact same mindset when it comes down to work. You have to get ahead. Be like the top 10, 15% of the population. Think smart and think outside the box. Know how to play the game. I've been working for over 20 years of my life to understand and further understand how the game works. There are people who knows how to play the game when it comes down to lack of communication. And there's people who get swallowed by and consumed. And they end up turning berserk. I'm talking about the people who get stressed out and who just want to work and get by. But for me, I'm a chill dude. I'll blend in with the environment that I'm around. And at the same time, I'll just keep to myself. If they don't care, I'm not going to care. When it comes down to the work environment, that's the mindset that you have to have when there's lack of communication, depending on the job. Now, if it's a fast-paced job, like most cases, like it's in a warehouse, then lack of communication is definitely going to hurt you in the long run. It's definitely going to hurt the employer to lose a lot of employees. I've had previous jobs where they had an extremely high turnover rate. People would quit in about a day or two, and it was normal. Because you know why? A lot of these supervisors and these CEOs, I could just replace them in a heartbeat, in a second, just with a snap of a finger. You're expandable. Oh yeah, that's how a lot of ignorant um, companies and how the bosses treat you. That's how a lot of them treat their employees, like garbage, like they're replaceable. They don't treat them like a human being with respect or nothing. Some jobs these days, you could get away with a lot. You have more time to yourself and more time in your hand. And as long as you're doing your work, in some cases, they don't really care. They do not really care. Okay? Like I said, lack of the communication in the work environment today, man, it's like a disease. A lot of people, when they see a supervisor don't care, they're not going to care either. It does hurt some people in certain positions, certain roles. People can't take it anymore. Certain jobs, you see a lot of people leave. There's a lot of open positions. It's like a desert. But guess what? You have to put two and two together. It's important to be observant. It's important to know the game, know your surroundings, know how the game is played, to not get caught up by it. You have to move smart as well at the exact same time. Because when other employers see that, you have people that will snitch on you, tattletale, tell corporate or other people within the job, depending on how big the job is or the company is. And they could get you fired right there on the spot or the next day. For me, my motto is that as long as I'm doing my job, I'm chill, I'm not rushing myself, I'm not busting my behind, it's all good. Like I said, there are some coworkers that's willing to help and that acts more like a supervisor, and there's some that's not going to help you. That's just how the way it is. This is Casual Talk here. Peace out. Let me know what you think.